where do we go from here? So this is, we're getting to wrap up. One place where we go from here is that I hope, so far, Advisory Council have been the only people talking on this call. I'm sorry, not the Advisory Council, the staff and leadership have been the only people talking on this call. Future interactions, we hope will be much more interactive. I did put this in this slide, which ways will we engage with the AC? I'm looking for your feedback, but it's important, it is going to be plural. We're still going to have an annual meeting. I need your feedback on what would be best for that. It needs to be, it has to be November, December, or January. In the past, it's usually been very late November or early December. We'd love to get your feedback, but that will be a one-day meeting. We'll meet in the Atlanta area, which most of you can fly to or drive to. Fly to in one flight or drive to. It will be from early morning, say 8 or 8:30, till afternoon, 5 p.m., in hopes that many of you don't have to sleep there. Those that need to, we'll still pay hotel rooms, and of course we'll pay your expenses to get there and back. But the point here was, you're not going to have to arrange 2 days out of your life to do this. You're going to have to arrange one day and maybe an evening. And we're just going to try to squeeze a lot in. We're going to try to engage with you more frequently. I don't want to say not as in-depth, but we're going to try to spread our engagement out over time. I'm looking for feedback on how we do that. Should we have a once-a-month, hour-long call? Maybe we want to have it bi-monthly or quarterly. I expect how we do the agenda to be kind of a business meeting, but there might be also, say, a presentation on a key topic or an interesting topic. BaseCamp is the way. I'm not going to really give a choice, although you've got a little bit of individual choice to sort of opt out, and I'm going to talk to you about BaseCamp next. But we found that BaseCamp is a good way to communicate with a lot of people at once at the same time. Yes, Joe, please do open the lines for comment. I'm going to go through a couple slides telling you what BaseCamp is. And BaseCamp is just an online way to manage communications and also to archive stuff so that people can come back later. A couple of you have gotten emails that will look like this. It looks like it comes from me. It says, please accept this invitation to the BaseCamp. And it gives you a link of how to do it. The whole point of this next couple slides is to convince you there's nothing really scary about BaseCamp. It's not going to take over your life. It doesn't have the security issues of, say, Facebook. It's just a new tool that's pretty easy to use once you take 1 or 2 steps to decide to go ahead and use it. Once you're in the system, basically you're just going to send back in and say, let me in, and it's probably going to give you a password or something like that. Pretty simple. It'll bring you to something like this. Now this is a project. BaseCamp splits things down into projects. So we have, so far there's nothing in the Advisory Council BaseCamp. But later today, for instance, the recording of this call will be in there. The PowerPoints will be in there. And you may be seeing messages. And so this is the kind of thing that if you go to the BaseCamp site, which is online, it's just a website, you can see these kind of discussions. So under these discussions, you see a picture of Joe LaForest, and you see this line, can we touch base soon on the AC teleconferences? This was the discussion that we used to talk about what we were going to talk about today in this teleconference. And you can see there's a whole bunch of attachments there, little icons, PowerPoints. This is just a screenshot, so it's not live. I'm not going to go in and show it to you. But basically, it's just a way to put all of those emails together in one place to grab all those attachments. You don't have to keep them in your email folders and so forth. And at the same time, you can communicate with everybody at the same as you do this. You don't have to remember how many people are in the group. This is what that inside of one of those looks like. You could see that I had posted something, just said, okay, here's the next version of the slideshow, and Joe had looked at it and said, gee, you got something wrong with slide number 38. There's nothing in there. Again, it's just mundane stuff. Give it a shot. So I did take also a screenshot of my mailbox. This was my inbox at one time this morning. It's the first thing up here was reminding me, that I had this go to webinar thing, so that's an email. But you can see these other several emails came from BaseCamp or came from Joe LaForest and were about BaseCamp. Just want to put that in there to show you can filter these out. Number one, without going to BaseCamp, you'll get the message. You'll see the message when it comes. But number two, if you want to, you can trash all these messages. You can filter them out and send them straight to the trash or put them in a mailbox and know that that message still exists over on the BaseCamp site if you want to come back and look at it later. So just nothing scary there. That's the whole point. So the mics were open. I have asked Joe, I had planned to show this survey live, and maybe you can just switch us around to show your screen and put this survey on. In the meantime, any questions, any comments, anything from anybody? I do appreciate your time there. I see we've got 18 participants, so 6 of them are staff or leadership. We've got a dozen. I think that's a pretty good shot the first time. This is new ground for us of trying to engage in a slightly different way than we have with the Advisory Council. So I hope we haven't put everybody to sleep.
Oh, I'm still here, Bledsoe.
What do you think?
Jim, this is Scott Stewart. I think this format's not bad, assuming you can hear what I'm saying right now.
We can. All right, Joe has this survey up, and one thing I want to reassure you about the survey. There are a couple specific things we're asking. One of the things we want to do is redo our website, so we've given you a few websites to take a glance at and ask which ones you like best. We'd ask a bunch of open-ended questions. And Joe said, boy, people don't like to take long surveys with open-ended questions. So I just want to reassure you, we'd really like to get your feedback here, but put as much or as little time into this survey as you want to. It's open-ended, but also, allowed in that is one word or no word answers, I guess, is what I want to say. Usually our advisory council meetings have a lot more give and take, a lot more challenging the people in the room, to let us know what you're thinking. Of course, there's a trade-off when you don't do a meeting and you go electronic, but we'd love to get your feedback and love to hear what you have to say. This survey exists in the PowerPoint, which will be on the which will be loaded on the BaseCamp. We'll also send it out to you via email. All right, let me ask a very specific question of everybody, which I usually in scheduled meetings I hate to ask a big group about key days because everybody's got a conflict on one day or another. What do we think about the first week of December to have an in-person meeting in the Atlanta area?
Hi, this is Mike Bledsoe. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I had my phone on mute in my office. I've lost my screen, but as far as the Atlanta area, you're right. That's perfect. We'd all fly in the night before, or at least I would, be there for the meeting, and if I could catch an evening flight back, all the better. So I think Atlanta's a great spot, especially for us Delta flyers.
This is Tom Samples. I second that, and I don't know if you want to get that specific, but that early December, that first week right after Thanksgiving, it works for me.
Yeah, Jim, this is Scott Stewart. I actually have a meeting in Atlanta on December 3rd and 4th, if I'm reading this right. So that's a potential conflict or a potential good thing, depending how it piggybacks with this meeting.
Yeah, which day of the week are the 3rd and 4th, Scott?
Let me tell you real quick.
Tuesday and Wednesday?
That is correct.
Yeah, so we could maybe work on to either the Monday or the Thursday. I will warn you ahead of time that at the in-person meeting, we'll be looking, among other things, for not lengthy, but self-introductions or introductions of your organization.
You know, as far as picking the time, I have a conflict on the 6th, but we're all going to have certain conflicts. Would it be possible to send out a doodle where we could say what would work?
Yeah, we'll do that.
I would appreciate it. Like the 6th, I'm looking at it. I've already booked out a vacation day so I can get out to go see my granddaughter. But the early part of the week, following week's all open. So the doodle, I'll get back to you guys.
Good. And realize that only half of the current advisory council is on the call at this moment, too. So we'll definitely do a doodle. Actually, one of the things that's frustrating about doodles is you're picking out of these hour-by-hour slots, so it's picking out a whole day would make for a nice doodle poll. All right, anything else for the good of the order? Those of us on the Eastern time zone are probably getting pretty hungry.
Yeah, this is Bledsoe again. Just a quick question. You mentioned somewhere in the presentation we would be able to get a copy of the PowerPoint to go back over. Is that going to be accessible? I'm not much with getting on the websites that you were talking about, but if I get an invite, I'll try. But I'd like to get a copy of it.
Yeah. So Joe, you correct me if I'm wrong, but here's the timeline as far as that I'm envisioning is that this afternoon. Number one, we will enter all advisory council members into this BaseCamp project, so everybody will get an invitation to go there. Number two, we will load the PowerPoint there. And number three, we will load, it's actually like a movie of this phone call there. It's the third part that I'm not sure of. Is that right, Joe?
That's
or is it a link, maybe?
I'm going to upload this actually to YouTube, and then you'll all get a link. If you really want to rewatch it, you can.
And is there any opportunity, Joe, for us to break it up? You know,
we can always
make it into say 15-minute segments or something. Yeah. So
I can discuss that.
The refinements like that might take a little time, but.
It is technically possible. We can discuss that amongst ourselves later.
Yeah, good. And as far as I'm concerned, you're welcome to share this with any, with any of your peer group who may or may not be on the advisory council. I don't think there's any inside dope here. In fact, I'd love to have you share, key parts that you think are important. I hate to have you bore everybody to death with the whole thing, but. All right, anything else?
No, looking forward to getting together.
All right, stay tuned. We'll see you next time. Thanks again very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
See y'all.
Thank you.